What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself, Marcel Swally. Yes, 6'4", 250 pounds. I ain't helping you either, Joy. Emmanuel Acho. What's that? What's going on over there?
What you mean, man? Money Green. Money Green's Friday. It's a little Money Green Friday.
Oh, look at you. Yeah, it's a big day for you. I know what's going on with you. All right, let's get to our top story delivered by Pizza Hut. Order today at pizzahut.com. Cam Newton. Man, my man said he's recently tired of changing teams, and now he would not have to. Cam is re-signing with the Patriots. Did y'all hear me? Cam is re-signing with the Patriots, reportedly on a one-year deal worth close to $14 million, including $6 million in incentives. Reports say the move to bring back Cam will not prevent New England from making another run at a quarterback in the coming weeks. So Acho, Money Green, was it a good move by the Patriots to re-sign Cam?
So it was a great move at that price.
Oh, there you go.
I had to.
Oh,
I come on this show to be honest with you, dog. I missed you these last 2 days. I'm going to be real. I'm going to start with that honesty. But then the second thing is, it was a great move to re-sign him at that price. Cam Newton got paid really good backup quarterback money. That's what he did. He got paid great backup quarterback money or terrible starting quarterback money. $14 million deal, but as reports are starting to come out, roughly $6 million are laced in bonuses. Yeah. So really, it's more like an $8 million base salary. Well, who else is making $8 million or less this year? Marcus Mariota. He signed a 2-year, $18 million deal last year to back up Derek Carr in Oakland. Mariota, $7.5 million assigned. So he made $7.5 million guaranteed, kind of like Cam Newton's making $8 million right now.
Right.
Well, Mariota's base salary this year is $10.2 million. Cam Newton's base is $8 million. Cam got paid really good backup quarterback money.
Why do you keep highlighting it and emphasizing backup?
Because
I know what you're doing.
I want all of the world to know it was a great deal for the Patriots at that price. What did they do? They ran what you and I had to run in classes in college, you more so than I, because you went to Columbia and I only went to Texas. A cost-benefit analysis.
Yes, we did.
That's all it is. It's like, what's it going to cost and what's the benefit? At $14 million, roughly $8-9 million of base, I'm committed, but I ain't really committed. I'm not like, I got a foot in the water, but I ain't got my whole body in the water. I ain't got to worry about wearing no goggles or a swimming cap. So I love the signing because the signing still gives them freedom to continue to shop around. I like the signing because the signing says, hey, Cam, you're the quarterback of right now. Not necessarily the future, but you're the quarterback of right now.
Right now? That means this entire year, 2021, this season?
Sir.
Oh, okay. You were saving that for your next lap. Oh, my God. This is a great move by the Patriots, and I'm not going to undercut the move like Acho and give you that backhanded compliment. It was a great move by the Patriots because he's a backup. That's not what's happening in New England. They just got Cam Newton at a starting quarterback performance level with backup quarterback money. You know, last time I checked, we used to call that a hometown discount. You know, we didn't disparage it either. When Tom Brady was taking haircut after haircut, it was a positive to build around him. But when Cam Newton does the same thing, let me find out, and since it ain't Black History Month, you're going to disparage the brother for doing the same thing that Tom Brady, the man, did and didn't have a problem with it. All seriousness, let's talk about what Cam Newton just did. He just showed the New England Patriots that, you know what? As much as I did in terms of performance, there were some positives, there were some negatives.
Yes, sir.
I left some things on the table that I want to address. So let's not get into a sticky negotiation if I'm Bill Belichick and Cam Newton. You understand, Bill Belichick, you threw me to the wolves. I was signed in July to go to a team that this team and its offensive philosophy is so difficult that no quarterback succeeds in year one. Oh, you think I'm just talking? Let's go way back. with Vinny Testaverde when he joined Bill Belichick and his philosophy with the Cleveland Browns. Wasn't a winning year for him, but that's before your time. You're only 2 years old. Let's go to Tom Brady. When he was drafted by the Patriots in 2000, year 2 with Belichick, that's when he got the start and opportunity. Not year 1. Year 1, Cam Newton, you saw the results. Matt Castle, it took him to year 4 to even get that. Everybody talking about that 11-5. Oh, look out, Tom Brady. That was year 4. He got to absorb, internalize the system. Jimmy Garoppolo, year 3. My point is this. Bill Belichick knows nobody's mastering this system, especially in year 1. So Cam Newton, I know there's more left on the table. You know there's more left on the table. Let's not throw all our money on the table, all our chips in the middle on that table. Let's just save some for going forward and establish you as the starting franchise quarterback that you are.
I'm not mad at the take. I noticed
happy,
you
though.
left off the name Jacoby Brissett. I noticed you just kind of conveniently left the one that went 2-0 as a start. I know you conveniently left that.
I mean, it doesn't fit the narrative, does it?
Never, America, if you hear nothing else, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
My dog.
Carry that into the weekend. But here's what I'll say. Cam Newton Marcellus is taking this pay cut, if you will, by forcefully. Tom Brady took it willingly.
Time out. I got to interrupt you right now. Time out. Okay. How is it by force and Cam Newton didn't even enter the free agency market? If it was by force, Cam Newton would have said, let me see my options, and then I come back to you, Bill Belichick. Say that again now.
You know what you got to offer, big dog. It's like before I ended up on Speak for Yourself, before I had a daily show, before I was with you sitting up here in these suits that Fox provided, before I was on a billboard, I knew my value perceived by the world wasn't as high. So what was I going to do? I know my value, so I'm not necessarily going to test free agent markets in certain aspects of my life, relational aspects of my life, because I know my value's not as high. The mirror works. I looked in the mirror this morning. It worked. Yeah. Cam Newton has looked in the mirror, obviously, because he be on Instagram more than most.
Hello.
Cam Newton looks in the mirror, and he knows, you know what? I could test the market if I want to. What happened when I did that last year? Didn't really do it by choice, but the Panthers and we parted ways. I sat, and I sat, and I sat, and I sat. And then finally, the Patriots called me. Finally, after all that waiting, they called. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this deal forcefully. This ain't willingly. I'm going to take this deal forcefully. So Cam Newton took backup quarterback money because he knows that's what he's viewed as right now. So guess what? I'd rather take backup quarterback money than backup quarterback responsibility. I just came up with that right now.
Poetic.
I would rather take backup quarterback money to be a starter than backup quarterback responsibility. The rest of the NFL is offering Cam Newton backup quarterback responsibility. The Patriots are offering him starting quarterback responsibility, but backup quarterback money. So is it a good move? It's a great move. It's a win-win. We don't often see win-wins in life. We don't often see win-wins in the NFL, but Cam Newton got his starter. The Patriots got their backup by dollar signs, and everybody's happy.
God, Acho, boy, sometimes we meet in the same place, but boy, did we take 2 different ways to get there. You know me, I'm going to take the alley. Where they at? Where they at? Here you go. Is it a well-lit boulevard? And then we go meet. We're like, what up, boy? Let's do this. Same folk. Here's the problem with you, man. You try to give me this dollar store version of Cam Newton's contract and responsibilities. You keep telling me he's the 99-cent store version of a starting quarterback. When you don't understand what's really at play, the long play in this situation.
What's that?
Let me hit you like this. Like I said, we're going to meet on the boulevard, even though I took the alley. There's a cup right there. Half to you, empty. To me, half full. I tell you why. Cam, even if he reaches all of his incentives, 17th highest paid quarterback in the league. That's good not only for Cam Newton, because as Cam Newton has stated before on Instagram, I'm already rich. He told a little kid that, let alone the world. He's already got his money. What he's playing for is something greater than just the money, just the compensation. He's trying to chase a ring, and he's trying to chase that greatness that right now looks a little elusive to him. So when I look at this situation, I want you to understand a couple of nuggets, since we chopping it up on the boulevard now before the club opens up. I don't know why we hear that early, but the point is, let's talk some shop right here. Cam Newton accounted for 13 touchdowns last year of the New England Patriots' 32 scrimmage touchdowns. That's 40.6%. Most people out there are like, that's a boring-ass stat. Let me tell you why that is important. That was the highest percentage by any player in the NFL on their team. Next was Kyler Murray. I'm talking about impacting the scoreboard. I'm talking about having an impact on your team. Cam Newton had the greatest impact on his team. That also means that team must have been hella sorry if Cam Newton had that great an impact on that team and that team still only won 7 games. I give it to you like this. Is Tom Brady good? Is Tom Brady great? Is Tom Brady accurate with the football? Yes, yes, yes. You know who had a better completion percentage than Tom Brady last year? This same Cam Newton. We still on the boulevard. You start hearing them, they pulling up them little chains, and then the defense is starting to open up. We ain't in the club yet. Who had a better completion percentage on higher passer rating down the field throws? Is Russell Wilson good or Russell Wilson great on down the field throws? He's great. You know Cam Newton had a better completion percentage on those same downfield throws? My point is this. If you want to look at that cup and keep saying half empty, that's fine. Belichick, Cam Newton, myself are all seeing the opportunity to grow in a half-full cup. You mad at me now, huh?
Strong.
Open up, club. Let's
strong.
go.
I'm not mad at that. The only place that I can not even push back but offer another take is yes, Cam Newton did some good. He did some good in parts. But still, it's like that old adage, Marcellus Wiley. If I were to give you a bottle of water, right, and then I were just to sprinkle a little bit of acid in that bottle of water, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit of acid in that bottle of water, would you still want to drink it?
Do I know what's in there?
Yes.
Well, no, I don't.
Exactly. Cam Newton, he had some good. He didn't even have the majority good. He had some good, but he had a little bit of interception. He had a little bit of unforced error. He had enough sprinkle in his performance to make you say, ooh, I don't know if I want that as a starter at least. I want it. I drink it if I'm walking through the desert and I'm parched and I'm going to run my chance. I'm going to run the risk. I'm parched. Bill Belichick is parched of a quality quarterback. He's parched of somebody that wants to willingly be on this team. He had the most opt-outs last year.
Yes.
The most.
Yes.
Tom Brady, his affectionate lover of 19, 20 years, departed. Bill Belichick is parched. So he said, you know what? I'll run a chance. I know there might be some cyanide in that. I know there might be some, but I'm going to run the chance. Why am I saying this, America? I'm not saying this because I got beef with Cam. I love Cam. Cam's a much better dresser than I. Cam has much more money than I. Cam is much more swaggy than I. But I'm saying this because the Patriots lost 4 games by 1 possession. And Cam Newton had pivotal errors in each of those 4 games. 25% of the NFL game, 24%, let me not lie to y'all. 24% of NFL games are decided by 3 points or less. 1 possession or less is 50%. Well, I just told y'all 4 of the Patriots games decided by 1 possession or less. That's a quarter of the season. And Cam Newton had pivotal errors in all of those. So it's not a dumb move to sign Cam Newton at that price. But still, make no mistake about it. That was not I love you forever money. So, again, it's Friday, so I'm going to bring it up because I always do every Friday.
What?
If you were to propose to one of your first 4 fiancés with, remember the Cracker Jack box, how they had rings in them?
Hell yeah, I love that prize.
Show up with the little Cracker Jack box proposal and be like, hey, will you be mine? Yeah, it's commitment.
She giggling because she know I got that thing behind there. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
So it's commitment, but is it really commitment? It's kind of like those like wait for me engagement rings. It's not like the one with the diamond ring.
You know about all this. You talking a lot of engagement.
Promise ring.
Boy, you going on a bachelor all of a sudden. You talking engagements all damn.
They gave Cam Newton, Zell. They gave Cam Newton a promise ring. They gave Cam Newton promise ring money.
That's cold.
Like, I'm with you, but I'm not really with you. And that's how I feel about this situation, big dog.
Damn, you said Bill Belichick. He should have went to Jared. Stupid as hell. Hey, I'm not going to let you do this to Cam Newton.
They did it. I didn't do it.
No.
I didn't create the news. I reported the news. Don't be mad at me for reporting the news.
Yeah, but then the process of reporting the news has to go through your mindset, your psychology, your biases. And all of a sudden, that pure water that they gave you comes out with cyanide in it because Acho doesn't believe in Cam Newton anymore. That's why you give him so many compliments because you know you're undercutting him. You really ain't believing in him in terms of being a quarterback. I say to you the same example you said to me. If I'm in the desert and I'm parched,
yes, sir,
and somebody comes up to me and say, I have some water, but it's in their hands, I'm not caring if it's calloused. I'm not caring that some water is dripping between the fingers and seeping through. I'm just caring that they are going to quench my thirst. Cam Newton last year found himself in July needing some water. And then he looked at a situation like New England. And remember, this is the same New England that even a guy like Matthew Stafford's like, I'm not going there. Like, I'll go a lot of places, not there. And Matthew Stafford's not alone. Cam Newton said, I'll take the water. I understand it has to go through your hands. I understand it's not going to be much. 8 COVID opt-outs. I understand, Bill Belichick, you face tremendous obstacles. This team was so bad that 20-year starter GOAT Tom Brady left. He said there's not enough. And before he left, he snapped on everybody, every game on the sidelines because he knew they didn't have enough to compete. But Cam Newton said, that's enough water for me. My glass will be half full. Not full, half full. That's where Cam Newton is right now. Let me give it to you like this. Let's go back to our childhood, our impressionable years. For you, did you like Michael Vick as a quarterback?
Loved. I had his shoes. I still got his shoes in my closet.
No, Michael Vick ran the NFL in terms of the fandom and the peers just buying into his game. Do you know that Cam Newton last year had more rushing touchdowns than Michael Vick ever had in a season? Take down your poster. I understand. It's still in your room somewhere. Tell mom and dad, pull it down. Do you understand that Cam Newton is only 31 years old, is going to be 32 by the start of the season, and that 3 of the last 5 MVPs in the NFL have been older than that age? I'm not saying Cam Newton's going to return to MVP form. He's already been an MVP. But I'm saying that there is still some upside to Cam Newton with continuity, staying in this system, and realizing this year, Bill Belichick's actually walking up to him with a cup of water full. They have $60+ million in cap space. They actually have a team that's going to want to play and is not going to opt out because of COVID. Cam Newton's coming to a situation that was that close to winning 11 games. They won 7, 4 close ones. If they just close those games, not win those games, just finish those games, Acho, that's an 11-win team. Maybe winning that division.
But we have to remember, you said if they just close those close games, the they is Cam, right? Let's change that pronoun if we can go back to English class. Okay. Let's change that pronoun to the noun of Cam Newton.
Really?
The they is
only receivers? No tight ends?
They were at the Patriots lost 24-21 to the Buffalo Bills. They were at the 19-yard line when they fumbled. They was Cam Newton. The Patriots lost to the Broncos 18-12. The defense had 2 interceptions in the last 4 minutes and gave they the ball back. It was 18-9 when they had the ball with 4 minutes. They was Cam Newton, and all they did was get 3 points, and they lost 18-12 instead of they winning. They had the ball against the Texans with 4 minutes left, and they could have gone down the field to get a touchdown. They didn't. They is Cam Newton. So they were just 4 wins away, just 4 possessions away from having 11 wins. But they didn't do it. And they is Cam Newton. So what's up with they, Sal?
Well, they, pretty good there. They had a higher passer rating than Matt Ryan at the end of the season. You want to know why that is important to me? Because it shows me that Cam Newton, in a system that they didn't know, and then Cam Newton, when he caught the COVID, but only they caught it, and then he comes back and he still rebounds to a level that is not only acceptable as a starter, but starting to show some sparks of they looking better. That's why they made this deal. They are going to benefit from this coming forward. Man, I feel like I flunked English just now. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have more on Cam Newton. They will tell you if the Patriots can get back to the playoffs with him as their starter. But first, Tom Brady just might play forever. I ain't lying, y'all, forever. We'll tell you what his new deal means for the rest of the league. That's next on Speak for Yourself, They version. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Tom Brady recently won his first Super Bowl with the Bucs, but that does not mean it will be his last. He's on a 4-year extension that will reportedly be voided into a 1-year deal. This move will save the Buccaneers $19 million against the salary cap and keep the GOAT Tom Brady in Tampa through the 2022 season when he'll be 45 years old. Yeah, dope. Marcellus, what does this new deal mean for the rest of the league?
Problems. Just being simple with this.
Talk about it.
Oh, man. Problems in terms of what the Tampa Bay Bucs can do based on the newfound expectations, mindset, and culture that Tom Brady helped cultivate for this franchise. Think about it. Tom Brady also had to hit the ground running, just like we were talking last block about Cam Newton, in terms of learning the system virtually, on Zooms, breaking into parks and recreation centers just to figure it out. Breaking into Byron Leftwich's neighbor's houses just to figure out what this system looks like. And in the beginning, by Tom Brady standards, it was a little bit of a struggle. It was a little bit of a roller coaster ride. I remind people in the first 12 games, they were 7-5. I remind people in the first 12 games, he was 28-11. But the last 8 games, sucker didn't lose a game. Last 8 games, 22-4 touchdown interception ratio, improved by 15 in terms of passer rating. Tom Brady started to feel himself. Tom Brady started to figure out this system. So Tom Brady, who I like to call Mr. Maximizer. Like, no matter what you give him, he's going to get the most out of it. Like a MacGyver. Like, give me anything and I'm going to make something of that. Tom Brady is the water when your lotion is running dry, running at the end. And I've seen you before. You ever do that? And you know what I'm saying? You hit that pump, you're like, man, there's still a little in there. Then you turn it over and you say, I'll be back in an hour.
You put water and lotion though?
Hell yeah, I got to get the last of that. I ain't grow up with a swimming pool like you in the backyard, brother. Had to get all that lotion. What you talking? You over there giggling, okay. You know who Tom Brady is? He's the dude that just goes into a situation and you almost want to sleep on him. And you're like, I don't see the wow factor. I don't see what you really bring, because much of what he brings is intangibles, attributes mentally that's going to all of a sudden take effect to everyone around him. So most people saw Tom Brady and realized he's a winner. We know that. But then they started to say he's going to decline in this moment. Oh, we don't know that. Tom Brady, since turning 40 years old, dog, listen to this. This is crazy. He has 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl titles, 1 MVP award, and 2 Pro Bowls since 40. So what this means to the rest of the league is that they still have Mr. Maximizer as their starting quarterback going forward. Other teams beware, because no one out there in the league, including Patrick Mahomes, can do more with less. And in this situation, Tom Brady actually has more.
I feel that this deal means that the Buccaneers are in the driver's seat to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, yep.
And I'm going to break it down in a manner, Sal, in which I feel like everybody can understand. At some point in time, more than likely, you've been on a race with your homeboys or your homegirls to a destination. Whether for fun or not, y'all get into a car, leaving a spot, and you say, hey, last one there, X, Y, or Z. At some point in time, not necessarily a street race, but yeah, you've been in this kind of race before. And I've been in this situation when there's a problem, Selling. The problem is when I've made this bet, hey, I bet you I'll beat you to this destination. I get into my car, Selling, I realize I don't have gas.
The Bentley broke down.
Problem.
Okay.
And so what do I got to do? We both in a rush to this destination, but I got to make a pit stop. I got to make a pit stop and go get gas and then get there.
Like real
Meanwhile, you, whoever I'm in competition with, can just go straight to the destination. Why do I bring up this example? Because this reason. Tom Brady doesn't have to make pit stops anymore for money. His destination is just to win a Super Bowl ring. Other quarterbacks have to make pit stops because they still got to get theirs. Dak Prescott had to make a pit stop. Deshaun Watson still got to make a pit stop. Patrick Mahomes had to make a pit stop. Russell Wilson is still making a pit stop. I'm out of guaranteed money. Pit stop. Dak Prescott, you know what? It's time for me to cash in. Pit stop. Deshaun Watson, I need life-changing money. Pit stop. Patrick Mahomes, I need generational life-changing money too. I earned it. Pit stop. Tom Brady's like, oh, I don't have to make pit stops anymore.
I like this.
Between Giselle and I, Giselle, my wife's net worth, $400 million. The money I've acquired over the course of time, excess of hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't have to make a pit stop. So we're all in this race to hoisting a Lombardi. But y'all got to go stop, not for gas. Y'all got to go stop for bread. I don't have to stop no more. I can just go there. Rest of the NFL is on notice. Tom Brady is playing chess. Everybody else out here playing checkers. Tom Brady's calculating moves. On the same day in which we saw the Chiefs have to cut both of their starting tackles that started last season, Eric Fisher and Mitch Schwartz, because of monetary reasons, along with injury reasons, but monetary reasons primarily. Tom Brady's restructuring a deal to find more money to keep the same team that already dismantled the best team over the last 2 years. This deal means trouble because Tom Brady ain't got to make no more pit stops. He headed to the destination of hoisting the Lombardi, and he ain't got to stop nowhere.
Man, I love that. But I will warn you this.
Talk to me.
If you make that pit stop for some bread, gas station bread, I don't know about that. I don't trust it. You sound like you were really all in on that gas station bread. Here's the thing about this. Good example right there. Tom Brady runs a different type of calculus to any other team, any other quarterback runs in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
With Tom Brady, 2 + 2 = 5. Where even Patrick Mahomes couldn't make that happen. And Patrick Mahomes may have to repeat trigonometry in terms of how their offensive philosophy is and all these weapons, and we're just going to go out there, but can't do the simple things. That's what's scary about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could beat you with the simple things, which is boring, which is a little deceptive to the naked eye, and everyone gets wild into seeing what Kansas City can do and others. Let's talk about those others. Kansas City's going to have some issues this year, and I've been predicting it. I've been called a hater for that. That's fine. All I'm trying to tell you as the weatherman is take your umbrella with you because they are rebuilding that entire offensive line in Kansas City. Releasing 3 starters, Fisher, Schwartz, Reader, all gone, and then still trying to get over the Super Bowl hangover of an appearance, but boy, a beatdown. What about the Packers? Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers saying, are we really scared of the Packers? We already beat them on the road last year. Aaron Rodgers is 7-8 in the playoffs since he's won his Super Bowl. Let's talk about the Rams. Oh, we got our quarterback. Yeah, the same quarterback that never won a playoff game. Oh, let's talk about the Saints. Who is your quarterback? Let's talk about the Seahawks. Who is your quarterback? Russell Wilson over there tripping. Cowboys, bottom 5 NFL scoring defense. Colts, who is your quarterback? Oh, Carson Wentz. Who is Carson Wentz? Buffalo Bills, no rushing game. Guess what that's going to mean to Josh Allen? As much as you continue to grow, more focus on you. The field will shrink on that passing game. The Baltimore Ravens. I'm going through all the playoff teams right here. What are the Baltimore Ravens going to do in terms of consistent playoff success and, more importantly, that passing game? Because we know Lamar Jackson can throw. He led the league in passing touchdowns just a year ago, but something is malfunctioning in that passing game. On this road, as you said, in the race to this destination, the one with the clearest path is actually the one with the best car, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That should strike fear in every opponent.
So I'm going to go somewhere that I'm not as familiar with, so hopefully you can fill in the gaps. Ooh. But it's kind of like when you hear the phrase, and at first to me it was just a colloquial until I became in part what I'm about to say. You know that phrase, the rich get richer?
Yes, I do.
We just throw it around loosely, like, the rich get richer. I never knew what that meant. I had no idea. I was like, the rich get richer. Okay, it's a figure of speech. No. Literally, the rich in our life get richer because when you are rich, you have more access to things that people who aren't as wealthy have access to. See, when you're rich, people invite you to be on boards. They invite you to, I recently got asked to be on a board. And the board, it requires me like being on a call for, 4 hours over the course of a year. Like $400,000 or $500,000 worth of like options and stock. I don't have to do anything. Just by being famous or by being rich, you get offered money to be richer. Tom Brady, he is rich, not in money, but he's rich in Super Bowl rings. He's rich in Lombardi trophies. He's rich in Super Bowl MVPs. So he has the luxury of, you know what? I counted 14% of the cap last year, and I won a Super Bowl even though I still counted 14% of the cap, and that's already unheard of. But because I don't really need more money, I'm already rich now in money, I can afford to take pay cuts and allow me to get richer. Whereas the guys like Russell Wilson, yeah, he might be famous a little bit. His spouse is also famous a little bit, but they can't touch us and what we doing. So while Russell Wilson and the Patrick Mahomes and the Dak Prescotts, they're distracted by so many other things. Tom Brady is literally the embodiment of society within the NFL. He is the rich getting richer because he doesn't have to worry about other things. His success will lead to more success just by the nature of already previously being successful.
Oh man, let's talk a little of this in terms of how the rich get richer, how success begets success. And it's so tough. I remember hearing, and I don't know if I shared this with you before, we were doing a little sports psychology seminar, and they said that the space shuttle, a NASA space shuttle launch, uses 80% of its fuel capacity at launch. And they use that to apply it to not only sports, but to life. That the hardest part about anything is just getting it started, getting it up in the air. And after that, you start to ride some of that momentum that it took to even get up in that position. Tom Brady, they had their struggles 7-5 after the first 12 games. They used most of their mental energy trying to figure out this system and figure out how they work best together. But once they started to hit their stride, they didn't lose another damn game. Now, that championship momentum will carry them out of orbit. You know why? Because the last quarterback I checked to win back-to-back Super Bowls, name was Tom Brady. This is a guy who doesn't need adversity in his way. He just needs to figure things out. And once he figures things out, like he did in Tampa Bay, everyone else, beware. Speaking of quarterbacks, Dak Prescott just got paid a whole lot of money. We'll tell you if he was worth it and worth that price tag. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Break it down, Archo.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Big East tournament continues later on with a pair of semifinal matchups. Georgetown, let's go Hoyas, takes on Seton Hall at 5:30 Eastern, followed by Creighton versus my daughter's school, UConn. Ooh, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Speaking of hoops, college basketball is heating up, and Fox Super 6 is giving away more free cash on Sunday. Download the Fox Super 6 app and enter the selection special contest for your shot at a $5,000 guaranteed prize. All you need to do is answer 6 questions about Sunday's bracket reveal. It's completely free to play. See how I rebound there, Ancho? All right, let's head to Dallas. Dak Prescott inked a 4-year deal for $160 million, with $126 guaranteed and an NFL record $66 million signing bonus. Good Lord. Jerry Jones said the Cowboys won after the contract was signed and had this response for critics who think he overpaid to re-sign Dak. Take a listen, Acho.
When I bought the Cowboys, apart from a lot of other things that were being said, it was very commonly said of how idiot I was for paying what I paid for the Cowboys. And that's not an exaggeration. That's firmly there. Well, I really got screwed. I ended up with the Dallas Cowboys. The truth is, most anything that I've ever been involved in that ended up being special, I overpaid for. Every time, to the end. Anytime I've tried to get a bargain, I got just that. It was a bargain.
So, Acho, is Dak worth overpaying for?
No, but let me say this. What I love about doing this show is that you're intellectual, my dog. And so I can go so many places with you and so many analogies that allow a point to be made.
Yes.
And you have to go here with an analogy for this example. Marcellus, the only thing worth overpaying for, the only asset worth overpaying for is an appreciating asset.
Okay. Of course, I'm with you.
You don't want to overpay for a depreciating asset. So, for example, at home, if y'all trying to figure out what in the world is Acho talking about, in LA, you got to overpay for a house. You just has to. That's what you got to do. If you want to get a house, you got to overpay for it. They ask for $650, you better offer $7. They ask for $1.5, you better offer $1.75. You have to overpay for a house, but that's fine because a house is an appreciating asset. What you best not overpay for is a car. Because as soon as you drive off the lot, that car loses its value.
Yeah.
I'm cool overpaying Jerry Jones for the Dallas Cowboys, appreciating asset. You paid $150 million for that team, including buying its debt. Now they're worth $5.7 billion. Overpay for something appreciating. Don't overpay for something depreciating. So then that begs the question, what kind of asset is Dak Prescott?
Oh.
Is he an appreciating asset or is he a depreciating asset? Because if we can say, okay, I'm cool overpaying for an appreciating asset, but I am not cool overpaying for a depreciating asset, then what in the world is Dak Prescott? Well, let's just take a look, Marcellus, because what you see is what you get with Dak Prescott.
What is that?
When what you see is he's not appreciating, he's not depreciating. Dak Prescott simply holds his value. 2016, 68% completion percentage, 104 pass rating. Look at the touchdown interceptions. I'm not going to read that out. Then you just move down the list. Next year, he gets a little bit worse. Pass rating, a lot of bit worse. Next year, he gets a little bit better. Pass rating, a little bit better. Next year, completion percentage, a little bit worse. Pass rating holds. Next year, completion percentage, a little bit worse. Pass rating holds. Dak Prescott is who he is. So what is he, Marcellus? Dak Prescott is kind of like that Rolex. Right? You buy a Rolex, you don't got to worry about it losing its value. I ain't wearing the Rolex today.
I'm about to say, as soon as you look at it, you're like, oh,
I ain't got it today. I ain't got it today. But a Rolex, it holds its value.
Yeah, I get
so
that.
what I'm going to do is I'm not going to overpay for that. I'm not going to underpay for that. I'm just simply going to pay market value. Do you overpay for Dak Prescott? Is he worth overpaying for? Absolutely not. Not because he's depreciating, but he's not appreciating. Dak just holds its value. That's not something you overpay for, big dog.
Oh, you took me there. We're going to go there. I love the layers. I love it. I see the onion. I'm crying because I'm like, this is deep. Let's go there. Jerry Jones knows exactly what he's talking about because Jerry Jones went right to his experience, and his experience is his expertise.
Yes, sir.
So we saw that. Now, it is an old adage. It's a cliche in life. You get what you pay for,
Yes, sir.
right? And it's interesting. Jerry Jones is talking to naysayers. He's not talking to supporters. He's talking to those on the other side of the fence, trying to tell them, hey, last time you told me I overpaid for something, look how that turned out. You know, you buy the Dallas Cowboys and you overpay for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys the most valued franchise in all of sports? Like, think about somebody trying to tell you right before you go into the Cowboys headquarters when Jerry was purchasing it, and he's like, Jerry, you know you and I are really close, and I would never root against you. Don't do it. And Jerry's like, I love you, but I must do this. Imagine that moment sticking with you, and imagine that same friend or friends who told you not to do something. Jerry Jones is talking from wisdom. He's talking from knowledge. He's talking from experience. And once again, he's looking at a situation like, I think I'm going to repeat that success. I hear the naysayers out there telling me, Dak Prescott, what has he done? Who is Dak Prescott? The upside is limited if there is any upside.
Yes,
he is Dak. Oh, contraire, mon frere.
Talk to me.
Let's talk about notable quarterbacks. Let's go historic because Jerry Jones brought up his purchase of the franchise. Notable quarterbacks that won their first Super Bowl. Look at that, Acho. Let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys' own Roger Staubach. How old was he? 29. Is Dak that age? Nope, not yet. Peyton Manning, 30. How about Drew Down, my former teammate, Drew Brees, 31. Steve Young, John Elway, 33 and 37 years old. Dak turns 28 this offseason, 28 years young. So Jerry Jones already has a comps that support, once again, him, quote unquote, overpaying according to the naysayers. But more importantly, let's not go historical. Let's just go recent comps because you brought up a house example. You also brought up a car example. The only difference between those on the surface level is with a car, it's easy to reproduce. You want a Rolls Royce in LA, you want a Rolls Royce in Buffalo, you want a Rolls Royce anywhere in this world. It's gonna be the same Rolls Royce. Except if you go to Europe, it's gonna be the steering wheel on the other side. Point of it is, if you want a house, pretty signature unless it's a track home. Pretty signature. Dak is signature for this Dallas Cowboys team. Let's talk about the recent contracts that people want to call mistakes. Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff. Who has a higher winning percentage of all those quarterbacks, including Dak? Dak. Who's accounted for more yards per game, passing and rushing, than all those quarterbacks? Dak. Who's turned the ball over less frequently than all those quarterbacks? Dak. Once again, Dak shows you historically that there's upside, but more importantly, in the now, everybody else y'all paying, I'm better than. including Deshaun Watson. I told you last show, Dak Prescott's nothing but Deshaun Watson plus inflation. Deshaun Watson in his career, 29 and 27, 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win, is less of a win percentage than Dak Prescott, who has the same amount of playoff appearances and has the same amount of playoff wins. So, Deshaun, if you get 39, Dak gets that plus inflation, plus upside. There's no issue with this contract.
You brought up some good points. Now, you had some flaws, and because this is a show where it's not a radio show where we can't find the flaw in your logic, it's my job to find the flaw in your logic.
What'd you do?
You brought up a full screen. You started with Roger Staubach. He won his first Super Bowl at 29. Staubach didn't come into the league until 27.
Okay.
So Staubach,
I guess I only brought him in because he was a Cowboy.
So Staubach won his first Super Bowl his third year in the league.
Do the rest.
Steve Young, he won his first Super Bowl his third year as a starter. Drew Brees, he won his first Super Bowl with a different team. So, again...
Oh, he got a lead now to go get it?
For me, it's this. When we've talked about this before, which is why I like your full screen, because your full screen kind of points into a point I've made before.
What?
Dak Prescott is trying to stay in the same franchise and have his greatest success after year 6.
Well, like John Elway did?
The only comp we've seen since the turn of the century. John Elway, 1997, 1998.
Yeah, give him
the
up.
only comp that we gonna see since the turn of the century truly is Matt Ryan, who in his 9th year went to a Super Bowl.
I'll
give you the Peyton Manning.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I can go shoot back,
I gave you the Peyton.
I can shoot back.
I was looking and I'm like, Peyton Manning got 3 All-Pros, but okay, I give you that if I have to. You my guy, I'll do that for you.
Hook me up.
But Sel, I can't overpay for Dak Prescott if I'm Jerry Jones, because for all these great stories he has bad stories. America,
Give me a bad
here's
story.
what you got to think about. People will tell you, and we've seen on social media lately, oh, these 3-star recruits turned into the highest paid players. It's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. Being a 3-star recruit is fine. Sure. But for the most part, them 5-star recruits is the ones cashing in on these big dollars. Because for every story you have about a 3-star recruit like Dak Prescott becoming a $160 million man, I can give you a story about a 3-star recruit named Emmanuel Acho who only played 4 years in the NFL. Okay? There's a lot of glamorous, but there's a lot of bad as well.
Yeah.
Why am I bringing this up? Dak Prescott overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence, too. Excuse me, Jerry Jones overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence, too. That didn't pan out well. DeMarcus Lawrence, only 5.5 and then 6 sacks the last 2 years. Jerry Jones overpaid for Ezekiel Elliott, too. That didn't turn out well. He didn't give you 1,000 yards last year. So, yes, Jerry Jones, back in, the 1980s or whenever you bought the Cowboys, you overpaid for them, and you've seen that return 550x.
Okay.
But more recently, you've overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence and overpaid for Ezekiel Elliott, and you saw exactly what happened there as well. I'm just giving you a little pushback, Jerry. Your logic doesn't always work, big dog.
Well, it does, because all right, one, Jerry doesn't even believe in overpaying. He's thinking, like, whatever I got to pay to get what I want is what I pay. Like, be
That's
real.
true. That's a rich mindset.
Hell yeah.
Rich people think like that.
Thank you for calling me rich. Because if I go in the store, forget the store, because I don't even shop anymore. I still go on vacations. And I tell you, the most perturbing thing that will ever happen to me on vacation, and it's happened 2 times, and they have never went on vacation with me again, is when you're sitting there poolside, and you're halfway out the pool, halfway in,
You sit like that?
you sit like this, because you got a little gut. You ain't trying to show everybody.
Not me.
Oh.
I mean,
that's why we ain't going on vacation. You ain't going to be showing me out, Anna Marie. I'm like, what you looking at, girl? So anyway, I'm halfway out the pool, right? And then, yeah, we take another one. Doubles, everybody. Okay, she come back again. Doubles again. And then my boy all of a sudden say, hey, how much are the drinks? Hey, bro. Hey, matter of fact, just because you're thinking about it, I'm taking care of this. But you ain't never coming again, because you're trying to pop my bubble now. Don't try to pop Jerry's bubble. He's looking at the San Francisco 49ers overpaid for Jimmy G, who at the time never started more than 5 games in the season. And everybody's like, you overpaid for Jimmy G. You know what Jimmy G did right after that? Went out there and took that team to the Super Bowl. Okay, forget that. What about the Cam Newton? Everybody talk about Cam Newton. People forget that Cam Newton got that money and then went out there and won an MVP, 15-1 season, and went to the Super Bowl. After the money. The point is, there are comps that could suggest that Jerry overpaid, but that's Jerry's money. Get out his pockets. Get out his life. Let that man sit halfway in the pool. He is doing what he wants to do. But if you want to keep pushing back, keep pushing back.
But still, don't you think that your analogy, your story is actually perfect? except your life doesn't necessarily have a salary cap.
Okay.
The Cowboys' life, Jerry Jones' life within the realm of the Cowboys, it has a salary cap. So I've been in them situations where I'm like, you know what? I don't care what it costs. Just buy it.
Just get it.
Just get it. I don't care what it costs.
I want it.
But when your life has a salary cap, for example, I don't know if you've done this. You're too rich for this. But your boy not too rich. I've gone on vacations where I'll take a certain amount of cash and I'll leave the credit cards.
Yeah, smart.
You feel me?
That's smart.
Because I'm like, you know what? I have a limited amount to spend.
Stop playing.
And when I run out of cash, I'm out of cash. Time to go back on the plane, get back to where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with that.
That's kind of like the salary cap. It's like you can spend recklessly if you got a credit card, a black card, it can't be maxed out and it has no limit. But if you got a limited amount of cash, which the Cowboys do based off said salary cap, then eventually you got to start counting dollars and you can't overpay. Talk to me.
Excuse me, Your Honor. If I may interject, Your Honor, because Dak has 2 years voided on this contract, voidable years, they save $15 million in terms of cap space. Excuse me, Your Honor, if I may interject on my own interjection, because they just restructured 3 of the offensive linemen's contracts, that's another $17 million. Excuse me, Your Honor, may I interject on my interjection of my interjection? Stephen Jones went on record after the Dak contract and said, we have all the available resources we need to get what we want done. Woo! You don't want to take them on their word. You don't want to take them on their money. Just don't hang out with the Cowboys, especially by the pool. When we come back, Cam Newton is staying in New England, but we'll tell you if he can lead the Patriots back to the playoffs. That's next on Speak for Yourself. So you're the one just walking around the pool, huh? You're watching Speak for Yourself, Marcel Swally and Manuel Acho.
My guy.
My guy. Excited for that chair that has a back massager, yes? No?
Not this one.
It's not a Bentley. Well, let's head back to New England, where Cam Newton will have a chance to run it back with the Patriots next season, after reports say he agreed to a 1-year deal. The former MVP had a rocky debut in New England with more interceptions than touchdown passes, and the Patriots missed the playoffs for the first time since the 2008 season. So, Acho, can the Patriots get back to the playoffs with Cam at starting quarterback?
Hey, absolutes are tough. Again, I hate speaking in absolute. Anybody can, I believe. Anybody can do anything, right? Can't finish that song.
Boy, yeah, boy, I'm about to say, there go Acho, bye-bye. I believe he got fired. He got fired.
No, if you want me to stay on one side of the fence, I'll say no. And it's not so much exclusively an indictment on Cam, but what would have to happen for the Patriots to get back into the playoffs with Cam Newton? Things that have never really happened in recent history. Number one, Bill Belichick would have to hit on an offensive free agent signing. When's the last time we really seen Bill Belichick do that? Chris Hogan, 2015, 2016. Yeah. Danny Amendola, 2013. They stumbled into Dion Lewis in 2016, who ended up leading that team in rushing in 2017. But, Bill Belichick would have to do something we just haven't seen him do, and that's hit on an offensive free agent signing. Now, more importantly, and here's the trick, Cam Newton would have to do something we've never seen him do.
What's that?
For the Patriots to get back to the playoffs, play good defense, good special teams, don't turn the ball over. Every year since Cam Newton's been in the league as a starter, all 9 years starting, had 1 year with injury, double-digit interceptions every year.
I mean, they play 16 games.
Sure. Let me just say Dak Prescott, who I'm not saying is a beast, only had 4 interceptions and 8 interceptions, and 2 of his 4 healthy, fully healthy
2
seasons.
great players you just named. Continue.
So what I'm saying is, for the Patriots to make it to the playoffs with Cam would have to do something he's never done before, which is turn into an extremely secure, ball-friendly, and ball-safe quarterback. And Bill Belichick would have to do something he hasn't shown an efficiency in doing, which is hitting in free agency or signing a great receiver in the draft. He ain't shown us he can do either, Sel. So am I going to say that they can't do it? No, I'm not going to say that they can't, but it's like asking me to run a marathon. The most I've ever run is 2 miles. True story. Most I've ever run at one time.
In your life?
Twice I've run 2 miles. Coming out of high school before going to college, because I was like, I'm going to the University of Texas. I got to get in shape. I did a 2-mile run once. And then maybe like a year and a half ago, I did a 2-mile run. Your boy's not built to run 2 miles. Somehow you're a runner. National.
Oh, here he go. Hey.
But your boy's just not built to do it.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Maybe. But I would have to do something I've literally never done before. Can the Patriots get to the playoffs with Cam as a starter? Maybe.
Damn.
But Cam and Bill would have to do 2 things they rarely have ever done or have never done.
Man, I hate the stereotype, but I do love the stereotype because I think, I respect the kernel of truth in every stereotype. And I can laugh at my own pain and laugh at myself. You could tell you are not from Nigeria. You are from Austin and Dallas, Texas. Because you're talking about I ain't built for it. Have you watched anybody run marathons? I think a lot of your people.
They are Kenyan. Nigerians be sprinting.
Not all
we
of
be
them.
sprinting.
There's a couple in the back. You got to look at the ones in the back. That's you, Acho. You are the part of your family. Let me stop stereotyping. Okay, here's the thing. I don't understand why you. Man, I see you. You're so close, man. It feels like you just on the other side of that chain link fence, and I'm putting my fingers through like, Acho, I can touch you. Just hop it, man. Nothing up there, dog. Ain't no chains up there. Just hop over here. Cam Newton is the quarterback for this team to go forward and go forward in the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs this year. Let's start from the base. And the base is not Cam Newton in July signing with the Patriots. It's Tom Brady leaving the Patriots because he's like, this ain't enough. And when Tom Brady said this is not enough and he won 12 games but was one and done in the playoffs against Tennessee, which they could have still won that game. Come on, Edelman, hold on to the ball. Point of it is, Tom Brady dog cursed everybody on the way out, basically saying, this is trash. And that trash got worse because 8 COVID opt-outs. That's the guys who didn't show up. The guys who did show up, were they fully invested when your team led the NFL in COVID opt-outs? Not sure, not certain. Especially when your quarterback is there in July. He becomes a captain because of his work ethic and because, let's be real, his reputation precedes him. Cam Newton's a former MVP. Sneeze at that if you want. He comes in the building. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. He can't come in the building. He's learning the playbook on his computer screen, on his MacBook. And then all of a sudden, there's no preseason games. And then he's going to the most complex offensive system in the NFL, where no quarterback had tremendous success from start to beginning in year one. So now Cam Newton's like, all right, well, I can do this. And what Cam Newton came to realize was that this is a little more difficult than I anticipated. And Bill Belichick, I think, understands in his wisdom, yeah, it is. But we're going to run it back this year. Now, when they run it back, what's going to be different this year? You got a 7-win team that's going to get all of their players back, on top of have $60 million of cap space to spend, on top of, let's just finish those 4 close games that we almost won, which will make us an 11-win team. But in life, in sports, you're judged by your competition. Let's talk about the competition. Are the New York Jets competition for the New England Patriots? Be real. 5 straight losing seasons, including 2-14 last year. The Dolphins, who I like, but I'm not certain I love just yet. And I want to poke a little at Tua because they are poking at Tua. I love Tua. They don't, so it makes me question it, especially when I see his last 3 games. Only 200 passing yards per game and 72 quarterback rating. Now let's talk about the team that everybody knows that's there, and that's the champions of that division, the Buffalo Bills. Y'all gonna get a running game? I don't know. Josh Allen going out there again saying I could put the team on my shoulders. That's great as a surprise, but it's not when you anticipate that's their way of trying to win. So they're going to have a balanced attack, or they're going to be easy to poach. The point of it is the road to success is not as bumpy as a lot of people want to project. Cam Newton, continuity, better team, assets, knowing the system. That's a playoff team.
Here's my fear, Sal. It's like this. When 2 people are in a friendship, relationship, any sort of ship, if you will, I could sit here and I could argue that the reason we are not maximizing our relationship is because of you, if I'm doing everything right. Yeah. But the problem is, what happens if I move on to another friendship and I'm still not maximizing that relationship? Then I move on to another relationship or friendship and that's not maximized. Eventually I have to realize, wait a second. What if I'm the problem?
Yes, yes.
And so, can the Patriots get back to the playoffs with Cam Newton? You and I are both saying, okay, if the Patriots had a better receiving game and if the COVID opt-outs get back and if all these things happen, sure. We're kind of omitting the fact that Cam Newton might be the problem. Well, here is what's so glaring to me. In 1-possession games, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, they had a 19-20 years together. And they had the best winning percentage in 1-possession games. Y'all got the full screen. 86 wins, 43 losses in 1-possession games. But Cam Newton last year was 3-4 in 1-possession games. Bill Belichick and Brady, 67% winning percentage. Cam Newton last year was a 42% winning percentage. Tied for 19th, Bill Belichick and Brady were first. What if Cam Newton is actually the variable that is causing this team to not reach the playoffs? Because you said 4 games they lost by 1 possession. I co-signed that.
Yeah.
That's the difference between making the playoffs and not. But Cam Newton is the primary factor, or was the limiting reactant, if you will, in those 4 games. So, yeah, the Patriots can do all this stuff in the offseason, and the opt-outs can get back and all this other jazz. But if Cam Newton's a problem, Cam Newton has to be the solution. Can Cam Newton be the solution? That's where my question lies.
Well, he can be the solution in football, which is ultimate team sport, because it's never about just one person. Think about this. Last year, a team that won 7 games is all of a sudden a team that, I wonder if 7 games can turn around and do anything successful. Let's see. Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. No, this year they won 11 games. What did they win the year before? Oh, did they win 7 games the year prior, but all they did was have a bump change at quarterback? Yes, they did. What about Cam Newton? Oh, he's going to look like a changed man, a different quarterback, because this year he's going to have continuity. That was the Patriots at their worst. Man, I didn't know you were that type of person. You raised better than that. Don't be an idiot and kick someone when they're at their worst. You kick in the Patriots when they're down at their worst. Last year, I remind you, this year, if you look at the Patriots, how many draft picks do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. 9 upcoming picks, including number 15 overall. Go get a Heisman Trophy wide receiver. The most picks that they had and the highest pick that they've had since 2008. Last time that they didn't have a winning season. Let's talk about the fact that they're going to get the 8 opt-outs back, which includes Hightower and Chung and all those guys. But also, Sony Michel, you were injured last year, coming back healthy. Edelman, injured last year, healthy. Damian Harris, Gilmore, etc. All coming back healthy. You got money, 3rd most cap space, $70 million basically. What the hell? 7 wins, almost 11, with picks, with money, with continuity, and you saying the Jets gonna stop them. Ooh, it's not gonna happen, Acho.
But Sal, just because you have opportunity doesn't necessarily mean you have excellence.
I'm with you.
Right? Like, give me a blank sheet of paper and give me some crayons. Your boy not making no artwork. Just because you gave me the sheet of paper or give me a blank canvas and you gave me the crayons and you gave me the markers and you gave me the paint and the paintbrushes, I'm not making any artwork with that. Now, give it to an artist, give it to Picasso, you might have something. Give your boy a basketball. I ain't really doing much with it. Give it to KD, you might have something. Give it to LeBron, you'll have more than you have if you gave it to KD. I know that much.
So, you know we're going to battle that one now.
So, hell no. So what I say is, like, great. The Patriots have cap space.
Yes.
The Patriots have draft picks.
Yes.
The Patriots have opt-out players opting back in.
Continue.
But
my brother.
you opt out, you opt back in. What you do all last year? Are you ready to get right? The Patriots have draft picks, but has Bill Belichick hit on a draft pick lately? Patriots have cap space, but has Bill Belichick hit on an off-season free agent signing in a major way lately? I do not think so. So just because you give somebody opportunity don't mean they're going to give you excellence in return.
Man, all I know is give me a year off, a red shirt year at the pro level, like Gronk did. How did Gronk return from that red shirt year? Ooh, did he have 7 touchdowns in the regular season, 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and one of the reasons they won that Super Bowl? Yes, he was. And that's going to happen in gremlin fashion, osmosis through all the other guys who are healthy. I remind you, Bill Belichick, with all these issues and injuries and suspect offense, still had the number 7 scoring defense in the NFL last year. Better than the Colts? More importantly, better than the Bucs in scoring defense. Man, get on this train, brother, or just hop that fence. I'm over here waiting on you. Coming up, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are not getting along right now. Oh, we'll tell you who's at fault. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Go Patriots.
The Russell Wilson drama in Seattle is not going away. Reports say the Seahawks are not shopping their quarterback, but they are answering calls about him. Entertaining other men, it sounds like. Another report says there's a good chance a trade could happen. Russ has vented his frustration this offseason. Now, he's being called out by a former teammate. My guy, Mike Robb, said, quote, I don't know what Russell Wilson wants. He's paid. They paid him twice in Seattle. The front office made sure that every other alpha male, with the exception of Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright and some of the old school guys that are there, they made sure that all of us were out the door so that this team could be Russell Wilson's. And now this? Like, I feel you, Mike Robb. So, Marcellus, who's at fault for the drama with Russell Wilson in Seattle?
Russell Wilson. So sad, too, man. I've only been to one concert where I really showed emotions. Now, I'm not talking about dancing and hitting them with that and Cabbage Patch. And I'm talking about, like, tears coming down. And I remember this concert. It was late 80s, I think. I was at the sports arena, and I was sitting in the row with my daddy and the family and a bunch of Crips, like real gang members, like for real. And we were watching Michael Jackson perform. And that sucker got up there, Michael Jackson, rest in peace, and said,
World?
Man in the Mirror.
Oh, wow.
It hit me. Not only me, it hit all them dudes. They, just Jerry curls. I was like, is it dripping? Nah, that's tears coming down our eyes. Because it's the man in the mirror. Russell Wilson, you need to go check out that song. You need to sit there and watch that video. You need to sit there and realize the man in the mirror is the common denominator through all these issues and highlighting all the woes of the Seattle Seahawks. I remind Russell Wilson that they had a worse offensive line when they won the Super Bowl. I remind Russell Wilson that the year that they went back to the Super Bowl, but he was the reason they lost. I hate to say that, but if I was his teammate, I'd be like, dog, why you throw it? They had a worse offensive line than this year. So why are you complaining now? I remind you, highest pressure percentage Super Bowl win. Second highest pressure percentage Super Bowl loss. This year, 7th. Russell Wilson. Anyway, you won a Super Bowl when the perception was it was based off of handoffs and the defense. Russell Wilson, I remind you, there are people out there, like Mike Robb just said, hey, man, they took care of you. Not only did they give you the money, they cleared the decks. They got rid of the personalities that wouldn't let you fully blossom. Russell Wilson, now you want to talk about these same players that are in your locker room that are fighting for you. So Russell Wilson needs to understand this. And I'm going to keep beating this point down, that as a defender, there's only really one thing I want out there, that ball. Oh, you're holding on to that ball? I don't really want you, Russell Wilson. I just want what you got. So if you want to be protected, throw the damn ball. You want to be protected, be the best offensive lineman I've ever seen, a decisive quarterback. So let me give it to you like this, Acho, in top 5 form, because these are the best offensive linemen I've ever seen. And Russell Wilson, you need to put some respect on some of these names. Number 5, Walter Jones. Number 4, Orlando Pace. Number 3, Jonathan Ogden. Number 2, Tom Brady. Number 1, Peyton Manning. Catch those last 2? Quarterbacks. Russell Wilson is bringing this problem on himself and continues to blame others. That's why I have no issue with the Seattle Seahawks if they're starting to think about, let's move on from Russell Wilson. But he is certainly the problem.
I'm going to fault Pete Carroll, but Sal first.
No, you're not.
I'm going to ask you a question, and you best not lie to me, Marcellus Wiley. Prior, though, to the question, your oldest daughter just got into Columbia, correct?
Yes, Columbia grad school.
Columbia grad school.
Black privilege.
Yes.
Yes, it exists. It exists.
Your oldest daughter did, but say your oldest daughter would have dropped out of undergrad, right? Say she would have dropped out of undergrad. Who would have been at fault? Would you have blamed her or would you have blamed yourself because you could have done a better job or you should have done a better job?
Well, first, I wouldn't even know her if she dropped out because you were gone, exiled. No, seriously, I would blame myself because I planted something in her that didn't fully grow to her to realize her potential.
Correct. You've told me this before in jest, but in all seriousness, you have said that the parents have to do a better job with the kids because the parents dictate the way in which the kids are natured and nurtured and developed.
Yep.
I look at that macro issue of life as a micro issue in an NFL locker room. Pete Carroll is the father figure of the team, if you will.
I'm with you.
He's a parental advisor over that locker room. Okay. Russell Wilson is the child in that locker room, if you will, if they're playing roles. Pete Carroll, he is the dictator. Russell Wilson, he plays a role, but he is not the head, if you will, calling the shots of that figurative house of the locker room. Facts. The buck stops with Pete Carroll, Sal. Now, it's Pete Carroll's fault the drama exists privately. It's Russell Wilson's fault the drama exists publicly.
Preach.
Didn't nobody need to know about all this drama that's going on in the house? You ain't got to let everybody know what's going on in your house. Y'all fighting, y'all got an argument, y'all bickering. Don't nobody need to know about all that. You didn't have to make it public, Russell Wilson. The fault is on Pete Carroll for the existence in the first place. Pete Carroll, you should have known the first 4 years from 2012 on when Russ showed up, you had the #1 defense in the NFL. You went to 2 Super Bowls, you won 1. Your last 4 years, your defense averages about 16th, 13th, 15th, 16th, 22nd. So, Pete Carroll, you the one cultivating the household now, Pete.
You doing that?
Letting them. You the one who took curfew off, Pete. You the one who told them they ain't got to eat their dinner. They can eat dessert first, Pete. You the one who told them don't worry about your vegetables no more, Pete. That's on you. You were cultivating the household. You were cultivating the locker room. So don't be mad now when you created a monster. You created that monster. Your daughter just got into Columbia, right? Big dog Marcellus Wiley went to Columbia. That had to be a factor in her getting in. You created and cultivated the environment. You helped establish that. So Pete Carroll, as I look at it, the buck stops with the head coach for the drama. Russell Wilson made it public, but it was always private, and that's on the head coach.
Let's stay there because, damn it, you know I got 1, 2, 3, 4 kids, and my wife's still talking about another. Lord, slow down. I'm being Fox 98 years old, talking about Dak still. No, in all seriousness, when you got a badass kid, and Russell Wilson is a badass kid right now. Because Russell Wilson, last time I checked, I saw you playing a playoff game and only throw for 40% completion percentage. Last time I checked, Russell Wilson, who's still looking for his MVP vote, went out there and threw for a 72 passer rating. That's a badass kid. Last time I checked, he has lost 4 of his last 5 playoff games. Russell Wilson? Badass. So finally, Pete Carroll's like, I'm going to discipline you. I'm going to discipline you because I need to get you back on track. And you know what Russell Wilson does? Instead of, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror, you know what he does? He calls Child Protection Services and tells everybody that Daddy's being mean because Daddy won't play my way.
America, I got a question, and I've heard this before. I think you said it.
What?
There are no bad students, only
bad teachers.
There are no bad kids, only
bad parents.
So the fact of the matter is, if Russell Wilson is acting out, ain't that on big dog Pete Carroll? Russell Wilson didn't show up to the league.
Wait a minute.
No, he did not. Russell Wilson came into the league humble, wearing suits. He wasn't wearing no chains. He wasn't wearing no Versace jackets. Russell Wilson came into the league a certain way.
Yeah, he did.
So that's not on.
Okay, let's go.
That's on Pete Carroll.
Yep.
You the one who cultivated the environment that let Russ become this guy. The second Russ said, I don't want one MVP vote. I want the whole thing. PR should have grabbed him. Hey, come here. Ain't none of that. The second Russ Wilson said, hey, me and DK Metcalf are trying to be the next Jerry Rice, Montana. They cut all that out. That's on Pete Carroll, big dog. If you got, ain't no bad kids, it's only bad parents. Ain't no bad students, it's only bad teachers. If this man, Russell Wilson, is starting to act out, that's not necessarily on Russ. It's on the parents.
Hell no, I ain't letting it off like that because, hey, this is a relationship. We're interdependent. You're not independent of me, Russell Wilson. I'm not independent of you if I'm Pete Carroll. What did Pete Carroll name Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson. What did Russell Wilson do? Go to school, go outside, hang out with his friends, and come back talking about, don't call me Russell Wilson. My name is Dangerous. Dangerous? Hey, you know what's dangerous? Holding on to the damn ball, Russell Wilson, trying to cook all the damn time when we got food in there, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson flipped. And you know what? I don't even blame Russell Wilson because there is a conversation going on like, Russell, you sound a little different now. You got paid once, twice, married Sierra, a little different right now. You in Hollywood. You pointed that out to me a couple of weeks ago. I've been in relationships. When I dated Granola, I cared about
her name Granola?
No, I can't call her out like that. She's married right now, but I still like her a little bit as a friend. When I was dating her, man, it's a beautiful day. And you know, I was dating Granola. I was like, oh my God, this environment, we really need to take care of it. I was recycling everything. When I dated the Hollywood types, I was caught up in the streets, bruh. I was wearing one too many chains, too many U-turns on Rodeo just to show them I'm in the bad lane. Doing too much, right? Russell Wilson, right now, it just sounds like you're doing too much. Change your name, change your mind, and change your game. Because the way you're playing right now, the blame game, sounds a little too dangerous. Coming up, Deshaun Watson is another quarterback who could be on the move. We'll tell you if he'll be a Texan next season. That's next on Speak Fake to You. You said that was her name. Deshaun Watson met with Texas' new head coach, David Culley, last month and reiterated that he does not want to play in Houston again. Culley spoke yesterday and said the team is committed to Watson as their quarterback, adding, quote, he's the only guy we got under contract at this time right now. Culley said the Texans do not have a contingency plan on a potential trade right now. Ooh, acho. Will Deshaun Watson be a Texan next season? Crunchy.
he won't play for the Texans next season.
Ooh, I like you.
You feel like, will he be one? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. But will he play for him? I'll tell you right now, I will put a lot of money on that answer, and that's very simply no. Deshaun Watson has told us what he wants to do. He said it with his silence. He said it with his words.
Yeah.
He said it with his silence, removing the Texans from his social media pages. And regardless of what that means to us, that means something in 2021. He said it with his words in private meetings with David Culley, the current head coach, saying, hey, look, I'm show up and I'll talk to you, but I'm not going to play for you. And it has nothing to do with you, David Culley. It's just my time has expired. If we don't just want to look at Deshaun, we can talk macro, we can talk bigger picture. Jalen Ramsey, when Jalen Ramsey was done in Jacksonville, he was done in Jacksonville. Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun, we know how cool they are. Who else we know how cool people is? Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun, they got the same agent. Our guy, David Mulugeta. And so the fact of the matter is we've already seen the story. We bought the T-shirts. We bought the popcorn, kettle corn, preferably extra butter. We already seen the joint sale. I know how it will play out. Deshaun Watson may be on the Texans, but he ain't going to play for the Texans next year. That's a wrap.
Yeah. No butter.
No butter.
Extra salt.
You? Extra salt?
Yeah. Brother, high blood pressure all day. Take it, brother. He gonna be a Texan next year. Ooh, he gonna be a Texan. This one right here. Like, this story right here has more lives and more legs, more of an engine than any other story I can remember in recent history, because what is Deshaun Watson going to do? I remind you that the sentiment of the Houston Texans is, we're committed to Deshaun Watson. But they're also saying that Deshaun Watson is as committed to them as they are to him. Huh? That doesn't sound like what we have heard from Deshaun Watson, whether it's cryptic tweets, explicit conversation, or the fact that he's just suggested that I don't want to be a Houston Texan anymore. So that doesn't make any sense. But you know what also doesn't make sense? Deshaun, how are you going to spend somebody else's money and then say you're not coming home? You ever been in that relationship? I have. That's why I've been engaged 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Like, you're going to take all the benefits of this relationship, but not the sacrifices, not the commitment. Where were you? Oh, never mind. I shouldn't ask, but I should fund where you were. Oh, boy, stop. Deshaun, all I know is going to take something I have not seen from an NFL player ever to get out of this situation. Now, that doesn't mean that someone's going to call the Houston Texans, leave that voicemail that they're not answering, and finally say, 19 first-round picks. And then they hear it and say, maybe that's enough. I don't know what the tipping point is, but someone taking their money, because in September, Deshaun signed on the dotted line. DeAndre Hopkins wasn't a Texan. He signs on the dotted line, writes a love letter to the city of Houston and this franchise, takes the money, and then all of a sudden, I'm good. I'm not coming back. While thanking Cal McNair, while thanking Jack Easterby, and now is sitting there saying, hey, Cal, do me a solid. Help me hurt you. Bruh, what ammunition does he have? And if he wants to sit out, that ain't enough. This contract freezes. They have his rights to 2028. You trying to tell me he's not going to want to spend the money? He's not going to want to play, all for the sake of saying I'm not a Houston Texan? When the rubber meets the road on that conversation for real, I think he's going to be a Houston Texan.
That's a good take. It's a good. Some takes are indisputable.
What are you gonna do?
That take was a very good take.
What are you gonna do?
I'll submit this though, Sal.
Tell me.
When you have been, or anyone has been in that relationship where I'm funding you and you ain't gonna show back up home at night, or vice versa, the relationship still ends.
Yeah?
Still ends.
Yeah.
Now, it may not have ended how you wanted it, but ultimately the relationship still ends. And this relationship, I think, will still end for the very reasons you're saying. You're using your logic to get to point A. I'm using your logic to get to point B. Really, we both using the same logic.
I'm feeling that.
We just arrived at two different destinations. If you're the Houston Texans, yes, Deshaun Watson might lose $20 million if he sits out this year. y'all gonna lose a whole lot of money too now if you don't make the playoffs. Y'all gonna lose. Now, it might not be money you already had, but y'all will lose the potential at a whole lot of money in concessions and parking if less people show up to the game, if your highest priced person, if the person that everybody comes to see, they no longer come to see because he ain't there to be seen. Like, y'all will lose a whole lot of bread too now. So why do we have to act like Deshaun is the end-all, be-all for the Texans? He ain't the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Ooh.
You said it yourself.
Yeah.
They only won 4 games with them.
Yeah.
So if we are going to advocate on behalf of the devil, which I hate doing, I'd rather it be like to play angel's advocate. Why do you got to play devil's advocate, right?
Seriously,
If I'm going to play angel's advocate here for a second, new coach, new management, new GM. I don't even need you, Deshaun. Why am I acting like I don't know how to win with Deshaun Watson at quarterback? It's a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. It's several quarterbacks have won Super Bowls, gone to playoff games, won playoff games. Deshaun ain't the only one who can do that. Move him, get picks, use picks, sign players, win games.
Walk with me here. This is why this is not going to work. I'm just about to machine gun this. One, your agent's name is David Mulageta. Mula. He wants his money too. He gets his clients his money, their money. Like, everybody is in this business. We play football. We love it, but we want to get paid. Deshaun is not trying to sit on the sideline, not get paid. And if he is, for how long? You only have a finite shelf life, no matter who you are, to play football. So it's in the name of your agent. Let's get this money. Sitting out is not getting this money. It's giving this money back. And the ego is in this negotiation now. Because Cal McNair's like, this dude just tried to run one on me. September, he wanted 156. I gave it to him early. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's trying to dip set and be like, hey, I'm gone. Okay, find out. Here's the thing. You try to take my money and run, I'm going to have a problem with that. I can't do you a solid. And Deshaun doesn't have leverage. He needs the Texans to do him a solid. I repeat to you that NFL owners don't give a damn about concessions, game tickets, and selling jerseys. You don't want to know why? Because that adds up to millions. I know a couple owners still personally. I know what they make game days at home crowds. Millions. Know what they make in TV deals? Hundreds of millions. Deshaun, the cap through COVID, through a pandemic, only dropped 8%. These teams are still printing money while you're sitting on the sidelines having a $156 million over 6 years conversation. They're going to sneeze at that. They're going to laugh at that. But once their ego got involved, doesn't look good for you, Deshaun. We'll see. Coming up, LeBron sounds confident about his teammates, but should he? We'll answer that next. Speak for yourself.
Let's move on to the NBA. LeBron's Lakers struggled heading to the All-Star break, losing 6 out of their last 8 games. LA has been linked to a number of players they could potentially add by the trade deadline. But LeBron sounds like he's fine with the roster they currently have. I'll take a listen.
For us, what needs to happen is we just want to play better basketball with the group that we got. And I believe in every guy that's in our locker room and every guy that hits the floor on every given night. I love what we have. And obviously we've had some injuries, with the big one being the big B-Day of my brother today in AD. That's the biggest injury. But, from there on, we've had some other, things as well. But, I believe when we're whole and we're full, we can compete with anyone in the world.
Joined by NBA analyst extraordinaire, my guy, Slick Rick. But Marcellus, you up first. Should LeBron be confident in the Lakers roster?
No. Not confident in the roster as constructed currently. I tell you why. Because the last time we saw LeBron James without AD, he was an injured, no playoff king. I remind you, before AD became a Los Angeles Laker, that was the season for LeBron James. So now we're supposed to see LeBron James in love with a roster that is going to depend on now an injured AD. With an injury that they really can't get their finger on in terms of cause and effect. All right, we're supposed to believe that 36-year-old GOAT to me, LeBron James, the king, is now in a situation that he was in 2 years ago, but somehow, some way, this is going to lead to championship success. I tell you why it's not. Because there's been only one team to win the NBA championship in the season where it ranked outside top 20 in points per game. One, ever. And this team, the Lakers right now, are 21st, so they may be the second. But there's never been a team to ever win a championship when they're ranked outside the top 25 in three-pointers made. And this team is also, in today's new NBA, where everybody's jacking up threes, a team outside the top 25 in three-pointers made. So they're just not only defying history, but right now they can't even trust their present. So, sorry, LeBron, disagree with you. I don't think you're confident in this team as constructed.
I think LeBron should be confident, Sel, because the Lakers have questions. But the beautiful part about questions is every question got an answer.
Yeah.
For all the questions that we have about the Lakers right now, roster-wise, man, they need an athletic big. They can't shoot the three ball. They need a rim protector. LeBron needs help with somebody else who can take the load off him and score points. AD answers every single one of those questions. AD in the lineup, Lakers have a 74% win percentage. That's good for second in the NBA behind the Utah Jazz, a 75% win percentage. AD in the lineup, the Lakers were fifth in the NBA in three-point percentage. AD out of the lineup, they rank 25th. AD in the lineup, they have their rim protector, they have their athletic big, they have their number two, they have another guy who can run the pick and roll with LeBron James, they have another guy who can score points when LeBron James is on the bench. For every question we have about the Lakers without AD, as soon as you insert AD, those questions are resolved. So if I'm LeBron James, I should absolutely be confident, even without AD. We still currently have the fifth best record in the NBA. We still currently have the third best record in the Western Conference. Then with AD, we have the second best record in the NBA by 0.1 or by 1%. No worries, no issues. They just got to get healthy and they'll get right.
Acho, that was pretty strong. I almost felt like, yeah, you know what? What do we have to worry about? Like, what's the problem? Who should care about anything? Yeah, you know, the reality is, no, he should not be confident in this roster, nor do I believe that he is confident in this roster. He just knows what happens when you don't show confidence in your roster. That team falls apart, and I dare say when he looks at the options in improving this team, they aren't out there, at least not yet. There may be a robust buyout market before all is said and done. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, you make a good case that when AD was there, they did look like world beaters. But that's before we saw what the Brooklyn Nets were capable of. That's before we saw that the Philadelphia 76ers may be poised to take a step forward. It's before that we saw the Utah Jazz demonstrating what they have over the course of the first half of the season. The fact of the matter is, as Marcellus pointed out, this offense right now simply isn't good enough. It ranked way too low in overall offensive efficiency to be considered a true world beater. So there is reason for them, for LeBron in particular, not to be confident. If this was the same team coming back from last year, I could dismiss everything and say, you know what, it really counts. When the lights are brightest, this team has demonstrated that it can deliver. But there are far too many new pieces that they have that have not delivered on that stage that they are going to have to count on. And outside of Dennis Schroeder, I could point to every addition that they've made and say it has not been an upgrade from where they were a year ago.
Early church.
But here's what I heard, Slick. I
heard testifying right there.
He's a substitute preacher, the normal preacher.
Boy, I hate church when a substitute show up. Sorry, God.
Look, Slick, I'm not concerned about the Sixers with the career underachieving Doc Rivers when it comes crunch time. I'm just not. I'm sorry.
Wow. The championship coach.
I'm sorry. I'm not concerned about the Utah Jazz come playoff time because I just don't think Donovan Mitchell is ready to ascend to the throne that King James currently resides on. Am I concerned about the Nets? A little bit.
Yeah, boy.
But like, Slick, if your biggest worries are the Sixers, if your biggest worries, Slick, are the Jazz? Then what are we really worried about? If LeBron, my biggest worry isn't about anybody else. Yeah. My biggest worry is about AD. As soon as AD gets right, the Lakers are fine. But I'm worried about what the Lakers can control. I'm telling you right now, I'm not worried about nobody's Sixers. I'm not worried about nobody's Jazz come playoff time. Regular season, these Jazz go crazy. I'll put respect on their name. But come to playoff time, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, Rudy Gobert, AD. I mean, come on, Slick. What we really talking about, my brother?
Ooh.
Yeah, no. It's a fair point, and it's why, in terms of my belief is that the Lakers, as is, could still win a championship because I don't see that specific team out there that I would say, you know what, they're not better than that team. But nonetheless, looking at the Lakers as is, as Marcellus pointed out, they don't have the signature marks of a team that you look at and put that stamp of champion on them. Yes, maybe they are. But to me, they're in the mix. They have questions the same way Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Utah do.
That's the problem, man. You said it, Slick. It's a fair point by Acho, but it's a fair point in terms of cotton candy, Ferris wheels, and fantasy land because you just have to meet up to some of the metrics and measurables. This team is injured right now. That's a bad thing. This team turns the ball over too much, 25th in the NBA in terms of turnovers. This team doesn't have enough scores. Y'all keep laughing at these other teams, but every year it resets. The Jazz have 4 players that average over 15 points a game. The Nets have 3 players. The Celtics have 3 players. The 76ers have 3 players. The Bucks have 3 players. Lakers only have 2. And one of them is hurt, and one of them may be a little tired of the other one being hurt. After the break, it's just back to Dak time. Wearing Acho's suit in blue. He just got paid, but can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with him? We'll answer that next on Speak for Yourself. Let's head back to Dallas, where Dak Prescott signed his 4-year deal for reportedly $160 million. Dak is leading the Cowboys team that finished 6-10 last year, and the franchise has not been to the Super Bowl, as Acho reminds me every show in 25 seasons. Dak made it clear that his goal is to change that and lift up a Lombardi trophy. Listen.
Obviously, that's my plan is get a parade in Dallas. I mean, obviously, as a competitor, you watch people celebrate and you watch people do what you want to do. There's not too many more things that lights a fire under you than somebody having what you want. And every year that we're not in the playoffs or we didn't make that run, that's just more fire to it. The next big press conference we have is hopefully in another year after that big parade. So there you go.
So, Acho, can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Nah, I don't think so, but it's not necessarily Dak's fault. Why do I say that? 2014, Cowboys had a Tony Romo that was just as good as Dak, had a DeMarco Murray, best running back in the league, had a young Des Bryant, had a younger Jason Witten, had a 3 All-Pro or Pro Bowl offensive linemen, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Travis Frederick. I played against that team, and what they have to show for it? A loss in the division. 2016, Dak Prescott, they went 13-3. You still had Dak. You had Dez, who was still younger. You still had your 3 Pro Bowl, All-Pro offensive linemen, 2 of which will probably make it to the Hall of Fame. You had Cole Beasley. You had Jason Witten. And what you have to show for that, again, a loss in the division. I don't think the Cowboys will win a Super Bowl with Dak. But again, it's not fully an indictment on Dak. It's just an indictment on the way structures and things work. And it's also an indictment on the Dallas Cowboys. I grew up in Dallas. You've played for the Cowboys. I've watched the Cowboys. I've worked for the Cowboys. They've had better teams and accomplished less. So I'm not sure how we expect it to happen right now. I'll end this lap with this full screen. Again, right now it's proven in the last 15 years that the quarterback that accounts for the most cap typically can't win. But Tom Brady, he accounted for 14% of the salary cap last year and won. That was a high in the last 10 seasons. Dak Prescott, starting in 2022, will account for 15% of the salary cap. So what we're saying is this. Cowboys, if y'all want to win a Super Bowl, you got one window. This coming year, when Dak Prescott's only going to account for 10% of the cap. Because stats show over the last 10 years that that's impossible to do. Or Dak, you'd have to be a statistical outlier to get it done. So I don't see it happening because greater Cowboys teams have accomplished less.
Man. Strong argument. Wrong conclusion. Yes, they can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. Let's just go here. Let's keep it simple because that was complex but accurate. Last 6 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, because we're asking about Dak Prescott. Can he be the quarterback to win a Super Bowl? Last 6 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, Tom Brady.
Sir.
A little better than Dak. Patrick Mahomes.
Sir.
A lot better than Dak.
Sir.
Tom Brady. We're back to a little better than Dak. Nick Foles. Not better than Dak. Okay. Tom Brady. Peyton Manning that year. Suspect Peyton Manning. You better retire. Run off to the sunset. Peyton Manning. Dak's better than that.
Dak was only better than one. Peyton Manning.
What? What?
Nick Foles in the playoffs was much better than Dak has ever been.
Nick Foles in the playoffs. First of all, Nick Foles in the playoffs was not Dak Prescott the first 4 games this year.
Nick Foles was better than Dak has ever been in 4 games.
Since you slept on his couch, don't mean you got to just keep repeating that. Hold on. Those 4 games of Nick Foles.
Correct. Were better than Dak Prescott has ever played for 4 consecutive games.
We're going to have that. All right, topic next week. No, wait, I ain't prepared. But let's do this. You know me, I got to get my Google on before I say that for real with my chest. Okay, you don't like that? You don't like that?
I hate it.
Okay, what about this? What about you got guys under contract? You got a squad.
Talk to me.
How about Tyron Smith?
I'll give you that.
DeMarcus Lawrence,
Sir.
CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Murray Cooper, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, Jalen Smith, Ezekiel Elliott. You know they got them signed through 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. They have everybody they need. 3 contracts restructured just today. $17 million additional cap space. Dak's contract, $15 million additional cap space. Chiefs, before they won that Super Bowl, they had the 24th scoring defense. Buccaneers, before they won that Super Bowl, had the 29th scoring defense. Cowboys, bottom 5 scoring defense. Fix the defense. Super Bowl, go Dak. Coming up, Dak got paid, so what about Lamar Jackson? Oh, good Lord, that's $500 million coming. We'll tell you if a long-term deal is a no-brainer for the Raven star. Next on Speak for Yourself.
Let me look up these Nick Foles stats.
Oh, yeah.
Dak Prescott's deal is done, so all eyes are on Lamar Jackson. Reports say the quarterback and the Ravens are not close on a long-term deal, but Baltimore's GM says they've talked. He added, quote, "We're confident and committed to trying to get a long-term deal done." So Marcellus is committing long-term to Lamar Jackson, a no-brainer for the Ravens.
No-brainer right here, man. Lamar Jackson, unanimous MVP. Only 2 of those ever existed on this planet. And only 2 players in NFL history had a league MVP and a playoff win at a younger age than Lamar Jackson. Wonder if Dan Marino was any good. Okay, wonder if Patrick Mahomes is any good. Well, then give Lamar Jackson his money. That's simple, brother.
It's a no-brainer based on the current market that we live in the NFL. But still, I think the only no-brainer should be if your quarterback can win you a Super Bowl based on how you are utilizing your quarterback. If the Baltimore Ravens are going to commit to Lamar Jackson long-term, and it's a no-brainer, they have to do a better job of putting Lamar Jackson in positions not to win a lot of games or unanimous MVP, to win a Super Bowl, big dog.
I agree with you there. It's not perfect there, but without Lamar Jackson, it certainly is far from perfect. Have a great weekend. Fox Bet Live. Next.